Hello, I'm Sharon Wilson with Resort Trades. Welcome. We're so pleased to introduce Amy Lipka, Managing Director for 7 Across today. Amy, as many of you know, has been in the industry for many years, 30 years as part of the RCI team, and spent the majority of her career doing business development. And so she not only brains and charm, but great experience. So she's leading 7 Across to become the growth catalyst for her travel brand. And they have the mission of helping every timeshare owner get their travel on.
Sharon, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me back to catch up on what's been going on at 7 Across since we last spoke. I think it was late January. I am excited to share more about 7 Across and really highlight some of the initiatives that we're launching that will help resorts increase their bottom line. Before we jump in, I really want to thank everyone for carving out time to join us today. And I hope you walk away with 1 or 2 little nuggets that will help you positively impact your business. Before we jump in, I just wanted to share a little bit about my background. And as Sharon mentioned, I was part of the RCI team for 30 years. With the majority of my career spent on the business development side. I had loved working with those teams on that side. And I guess it's actually been a little more than a year and a half ago, I took this big leap and moved over to the 7 Across side in the managing director role. It's been a ton of fun leading this really passionate team that I have, and I'm really loving what I do. When we created 7 Across, we really planned for a fun and casual brand, and we're leaning into that space, and it's been quite a ride up to this point.
Wow, I can imagine. Well, tell me more about what's been going on and what you've done with 7 Across and the lessons you've learned after rebranding after DAE.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, it seems like a long time ago, but it was just in November when we launched the brand 7 Across. And we've learned some lessons along the way. I think one of our biggest lessons has been that we need to talk more about the movement from DAE to 7 Across and really connecting the dots for our existing members and for anyone else in the industry who had heard about DAE before. You know, we really built a thoughtful marketing campaign going into the rebrand. But not all of our members are on social media. And we know that not everyone opens every email. And so we're going back to round 2 of communication to really ensure that our members are aware of the change, but most importantly, that they know the great value that 7 Across brings to timeshare ownership. It's a unique name, and I have people ask me regularly, what does 7 Across mean? And I know we talked about that last time, but we've learned that it's important to tell that fundamental story of our new brand and what it means, and really create experiences that involve our members and help bring this to life. It's going to take time, and we have to continue being bold in our messaging. I played on the last webinar, Sharon, I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to show our brand video again because it really embodies what 7 Across is all about and the message that we want to share. And there might be people on this webinar that didn't join us last time. So before we dive in further, I just want them to get that excitement and feel the energy of the 7 Across brand. So Carrie, if you don't mind, would you play the 7 Across video for us?
Wow, that's I love that video. I'm practically dancing around in the studio here. A lot of energy. Now, since we last spoke in January, I wanted to know how is business rebounding for Seven Across after COVID?
Yeah, because we're a global region, Sharon, every region has been so different. Yesterday, the UK lifted all of the restrictions or lifted numerous restrictions, I should say. And for the most part, they've been living under restrictions for many, many months. But one of the things that they did that I think is really cool is they've adopted this lighting system that just clearly articulates travel between the European countries. It takes the guesswork out of what members need to research. So it talks about what you need to do pre-departure. It talks about what tests. It talks about quarantine. Do you need to self-quarantine or do you quarantine in government housing? And like I said, it just makes it easier for our members to know where they can go and where it'll be easier for them to travel to. Our business in Australia and New Zealand, it's really been pretty steady. The countries of Australia and New Zealand have had just a different experience with COVID overall. I think last week, the death toll in Australia was less than 1,000. Very, very different than what we've experienced. But they've handled it differently. They do what's called these snap lockdowns, where if they have a handful of cases, they'll lock down the borders in a state and not allow anyone to cross in and out of that state so they can contain it. And in North America, I mean, I think we've all seen that roller coaster of, things start to get better and then they start to slide a little bit and they start to get better again. But we're really started to see confidence in travelers earlier this year. And it's been really good to see that.
Oh, that's great. Well, so with travel bouncing back, which is the title of this session, I might add, are you seeing exchange activity on the rise among your members?
Yeah, we are. So our North America business, it's coming back to pre-COVID levels. And I think that's so exciting for us. Members are traveling, and I think it's August 9th, the Canadian borders are going to open to fully vaccinated American travelers. And that, I think, will also help us to continue to be at those pre-COVID levels. The UK, with the restrictions being lifted, it has been, that team over there has to be so excited because it has been, with all of the restrictions, it's been a hard 6 months. And this month they are blowing it out of the water. Pre-COVID exchange numbers galore. So it's been really exciting for them. Prior to the most recent lockdowns in Australia, which just happened in the last 7 to 10 days, we were also experiencing near pre-COVID levels of exchange within the country. And, I think one of the things that I am most confident about is that Seven Across is so well positioned for growth within the region. So as we continue to face the COVID challenges, we are there and prepared to handle it when we need to do cancellations and prepared to handle it as this business grows when we get on the other side fully.
Oh, that's great, Amy. And also, I wonder what trends are you seeing as far as locations, travel windows, and those kind of things? Anything in particular?
Yeah, there are a handful of things that we're seeing, and I'll talk. I guess most of these actually apply to the globe, but really specifically for North America. One of the things that we are seeing is that our utilization, same point in time, 2019 versus 2021, it's much higher. Members are traveling. Our lead time has changed as well. So members are booking closer date. 3 to 6 months is a very common space right now for our members to be booking their exchanges. Maybe that's due to uncertainty with COVID. Maybe it's that people are just figuring out, how to work those travel plans back into their life. But we are seeing that booking window of 3 to 6 months. If you remember back in November when we launched the 7 Across, we also launched some new products, and Flexit was one of our exchange options that we launched. And 53% of our exchanges right now are booking using the Flexit, the Flexit opportunity. And it just gives our members the confidence to rebook. I think Flexit's a win-win for both 7 Across and our members. The other thing that we're seeing, and this is one of the things that I'm really loving to see, and that is that we're hearing many resorts are working with their owners to honor their 2020 ownership, which is great. I think that being part of an industry that is truly working together through this pandemic and making sure that timeshare owners are getting full value of what they own is really great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it sounds like things are getting so positive. I'm so pleased for you personally and the company. On the last time we spoke, also, I was really impressed with your values and the core values and your pillars. So is there anything new that you've discovered about that, or anything you'd like to roll out or continue to roll out on your messaging?
Yeah, so we've discovered that our members are really relating to the 3 pillars that we created. And as I said before, these are our guiding light for every decision that we make as we are growing this business. We had an initial view of we thought the core meaning was of each one of these values as it relates to our products and our benefits and the brand experience. But we have to constantly challenge ourselves to think about ways that we can build them out further and really strengthen our position. The other thing is that we really feel like it's been welcomed generally in the vacation ownership vertical. And it gives us a forward-looking approach as, again, we continue to build out the business. They're all 3 important, but I will tell you one of the areas where I think that we've really had some fun with, and it probably isn't the one you would think that we're having fun with, and that's transparency. We're really leaning into this with our marketing copy. And one of the things about our brand is it's bold, it's punchy, it's to the point. We've talked about the fun and casual approach to it. So we have just built out our new member journey. And one of the lines in one of the first emails that we send to our new members, because we want them to embrace the brand and we want them to know what we're about. But one of the lines that is in that copy is, let's keep it simple, shall we? No squinting at any fine print. Use our 1-for-1 exchange program to go on vacation anywhere in the world with ease. So we want to be transparent. We want to talk about that fine print, but yet make it a little fun along the way. And so that's, I think, the biggest thing that we're doing now is just really leaning into who we said we are and strengthening it.
Oh, that's great. So positive, and I love that aspect. Let's get into the meat of the webinar, the topic about the budget and increasing bottom lines. And are there any new pushes or initiatives that you can share?
Yeah, I have. I think this is a space where I've got some exciting efforts to talk about. I think, Sharon, we may have touched briefly in January that some of these things were coming. And the first one I want to talk about is a product that we tested, and it's called Cacheit. So it's a fun little play on fix it, flex it, cash it. So we tested this effort April through June. Actually, I think we launched it late April. And it's a completely different concept than what's out there. So what we wanted to do was, if we have a 7 Across member who can't use their timeshare week this year, that they don't have plans to make any exchanges, we'll give them a cash offer for their timeshare week just for this year. And, there are a lot of rental listing services out there, but we are taking this to a different level for our members. It really is simple. You give us your week this year, and we will give you a cash offer. There's no waiting for the week to rent, and we take the risk on with it. So for anyone who's familiar with the Carvana sales model, it's really similar. I sold my cart last year through a Carvana, and it's a quick little calculator that asks you a handful or more questions. You plug everything in, and then an offer is presented to you. That's what Cacheit is. So with COVID, we know some of our members are just facing hardships, and we're hoping that this Cacheit opportunity will help those who need it and keep them in their timeshare. They can use the cash that we offer them to put towards their maintenance fees, keeping them an owner, and hopefully reducing delinquencies, which I know is a challenging space for resorts. The second initiative that I'd love to share is I think our HOA resorts will really love this. And it's a collaborative partnership that we're doing with Global Connections, and it's called For Us Leisure. So think sand, snow, sea, and sky. For Us Leisure, what they're going to do is they'll provide HOAs with an opportunity to efficiently recover delinquent inventory while providing benefits for their inactive, delinquent owners at the same time. I think there's some really key benefits to this partnership. So from the HOA perspective, there's a revenue share opportunity so we can drive money back into the HOAs. There's a deed back program for delinquent owners, so helping to ease that process. There are maintenance fee coverage options, again, helping to protect the HOA. There's some travel benefits that will be available to those owners as an opt-in, and Global Connections has an innovative sales and marketing team to help bring all of this together. So for timeshare owners who participate in For Us Leisure, there's also a connection into 7 Across. So when I look at this opportunity, it is one of those win-win-win, a win for the HOA, a win for Us Leisure, and a win for 7 Across. And when we have opportunities that cross all three areas, I think that's when they really become successful.
Well, that sounds really great. You've been very busy. Is there anything else that you want to share that can help resorts?
Yeah, so Sharon, first of all, the comment about being busy, I have to tell you, I have to give so much credit to my team. They are scattered all over this globe, and that little mighty team, they just get stuff done. They're creative, and they can implement. So there are two more things that we're doing that I believe will help resorts. So the thought is, if we can keep owners engaged, if we can educate them, if we can get them using their timeshare, they'll pay their maintenance fees. That's not something that I came up with. That's a common theme that we hear throughout the industry, right? But what I think is different is how we're tackling these initiatives. So the first one really is a play for the educational side. And what we're doing is we are going to launch a webinar series in Australia next week. And then the following week, we'll launch it in North America. And it's a 7-part series because, Sharon, you know that we've got to play on the number 7, right? So the topics that we will have as part of this webinar series will be, how do you get started with 7 Across? What are some successful tips to plan your vacation or to plan your holiday? Let's learn about a world of vacations out there. How timeshare owners can get the biggest bang for their buck with Gold Advantage. We'll talk about a whole series on 7across.com and how owners and members can self-serve should they choose that path. And then overall how they can maximize their membership. But I think the 7th one is where we partner with resorts and where we can help make a difference. So we want to partner with resorts or partner with HOAs is a joint effort to really reach out to those inactive and delinquent owners. And again, because 7 Across is a value as one of our core pillars, we really think it'll make an impact. And then lastly, we launched a QR code. So I'm a glass half full person, and I love to find a silver lining where you can. So I guess one silver lining of COVID is we all know how to use QR codes, right? You're in a restaurant, wherever you go, there's an opportunity to use a QR code. So we're going to we took it and we're running with it. Our new collateral that can be found in some of our partners' resorts, key chains. So there are resorts in the Pacific that still use a physical key. So we've created keychains with a QR code. For those resorts that use electronic keys, there's a key card holder. And all you have to do is a timeshare owner can scan that QR code and it takes them right to an easy page to join 7 Across. So again, getting them engaged with their timeshare owner in an easy way, or getting timeshare owners engaged through an easy vehicle. That's what we're trying to do with the simplicity of the QR code.
Wow. Well, that's very creative. I think that's, yeah. Everything that you've gone through with Cacheit and your program with Global Connections and this, it's all just such, you must have a fun time brainstorming all this stuff. Yes. Is all I can say.
Yeah. As I said, I'm giving credit to my teams across the globe. And it's interesting to see sometimes where the creativity does come from. We get creative ideas from our getaway guides. We get it from our inventory teams. We get it from our finance team. It's across the board. And I think it really is because of the passion that we see for this brand within our own organization as well.
Well, I don't know if the audience or attendees rather have any questions, but I did wonder personally, and I'd like to encourage y'all to put your questions in the chat area, but I wanted to know what your next steps are besides this enormous quantity of brainstorming.
Oh, yeah. So we have some really creative ideas coming down the path for marketing. Even though we talk about ways that we can help resorts, 7 Across really is a direct-to-consumer brand. And there are some vehicles where we will work with existing partners that we have to reach their owners. But direct-to-consumer is really the space that we play within. And my global director of marketing, he has a couple of irons in the fire right now with 2 very different marketing solutions that we're testing out. So we'll be able to talk about that maybe in a future webinar.
So last but not least, my question would be that I'm hearing a lot about personalization. So do you have any plans as well that work that into 7 Across?
Yeah, we are. It's a space that we're just starting to play in, and I better not put a time frame on it, but I'll give a rough estimate. So really, within the by early September, we will have implemented Salesforce Marketing Cloud in the 7 Across world. It's a big effort for a little team. And when we have that, Sharon, that's really where we will be able to embrace personalization and really start to play in that space. We'll get in there, we'll test, we'll figure out what's working, and we'll adjust from there. So I am excited that our marketing team is pushing that forward. And so by sometime in September, we will be up and running and being able to play in that space as well.
Well, we look forward to having you back then once that's completed, and once these other programs are showing some results or further results. I think it's really interesting what you guys are doing. So thank you for coming and joining us today. And I also wanted to say to our attendees I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/resort trades, and go ahead and look at some of the past events that we've hosted in addition to Amy's, and comment, like, subscribe. This all helps support our effort to bring you information and expand and work with our industry to keep it lively. Like, we need Amy's group here to help us brainstorm more ways. So, but at any rate, Amy, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. I have loved working with you and Carrie on both of these webinars, and I'll look forward to being able to do that again in the future.
Well, thank you.
All right.